guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today I wanted to do something a little different. I want us to take a break from real life for a few minutes and look back at some of my favorite moments in the movie Moana. When I first started this podcast, I read through a blog post I wrote in 2022 about the movie Moana, specifically Maui. Today I want to go back to that and share a little bit more with you about my journey through this beloved movie. This film is a beautiful piece of art that has spoken deeply to my soul, and I want to share with you what I believe God revealed to me through the water and the village. I love the movie Moana. There's no getting around that. It is probably first and foremost due to my immense love of the ocean. Seeing as how the movie is set in what I am assuming is a cartoon version of Hawaii, you can't help but have the ocean all around. And my heart is called to the ocean. From the time I was a baby, I have been around the ocean. I was born in Florida, though as a baby I didn't live near the water, instead spending my early days in Indianapolis, then Texas, then finally settling back into Indiana when I was in first grade. So I didn't get to have the water around constantly as a child, but I always missed it. It was something set deep in my soul since my creation, and I know God knew I would need something to remind me of a power beyond myself. My grandma, however, she lived in Florida, and we would visit at least every summer, and we would always go to the beach from what I can remember. For some reason, my soul is always settled by the ocean. When I went through a really bad depressive episode at the end of 2020, the ocean was a healing balm for me. I was old enough, the kids were old enough, and our lives were such that when I told Chris I needed the ocean and I thought he would get me to Virginia or Florida, instead he arranged a trip to Mexico and had me on the beach within a week. It was an incredible time of healing for me, and it showed me that I can find healing at the ocean. Beyond that, it spurs me on because I know that at the end of the horizon, at the end of my life, there is a very real place called heaven, and I am promised a home there. So the ocean reminds me of that forever home, and the movie Moana is an incredible picture of finding your purpose while you're here on earth and also chasing after the horizon, stepping into the ocean and journeying to fulfill that purpose while you are given breath here. Maybe my connections in this movie are a stretch, and I know that Disney gets a bad rap for hidden messages and pushing agendas, but movies are art, and you can find beauty and truth in art. And I just can't help but wonder what all truths I miss out on when I don't have my eyes open to see them. So, yes, art is subjective, and maybe you won't follow my connections here, but that's okay because they were given to me by a God who loves me and knows how much I connect to the ocean. So, this is my interpretation of the art that is the movie Moana. The movie begins with Moana as a very little girl listening to her grandmother tell a story. It is a story as old as time. There was good, and a man who thought he was also a god stole the very heart from what was good in the land, and a darkness began to grow. The tale in this village is that one day, one of their people will journey far across the ocean to put the heart back where it belongs. Can we talk first of all just about the imagery there? In the beginning, there was good. Before the earth was created, and upon its initial creation, everything on the earth was good. But though man had all he needed, he got greedy and wanted still more. So he stole the very heart from the land, and evil came in and was given a place to reign. Evil has always been with us since Adam and Eve decided to do things their own way back in the garden. Humans have stolen the heart of God and placed it in worthless things that get our worship instead of God. And this leaves us separated from the one who gave us all we have to begin with. But one day, there will be one who will rise up to defeat the evil and darkness once and for all and restore the heart, bringing peace and healing back to the people. Isn't that what Jesus did? So I could leave it there. I could just leave it at that intro into what God taught me through Moana. But there's so much more I want to write through, if for no other reason than to understand what I am feeling stirring in my heart. I spent over a week mulling over how to approach my blog series on Moana, about my love for the movie and what I believe God is revealing to me through this beautiful film. It's hard to know how to approach something that feels so big, and perhaps it seems crazy to you that I can find so much in one little cartoon. And yet, there's just so much in it to unpack. Perhaps beginning with the legend within the movie is the best place to start. In the heart, in the beginning, there was only ocean until the mother island emerged, Tafiti. Her heart held the greatest power ever known. It could create life itself, and Tafiti shared it with the world. But in time, some began to seek Tafiti's heart. They believed that they could possess it. The great power of creation would be theirs. And one day, the most daring of them all voyaged across the vast ocean to take it. He was a demigod of the wind and sea. He was a warrior, a trickster, a shapeshifter who could change form with the power of his magical fish hook, and his name was Maui. But without her heart, Tafiti began to crumble, giving birth to a terrible darkness. Maui tried to escape, but was confronted by another who sought the heart, Taka, a demon of earth and fire. Maui was struck from the sky, never to be seen again, and his magical fish hook and the heart of Tafiti were lost to the sea, where even now, 1,000 years later, Taka and the demons of the deep still hunt for the heart, hiding in the darkness that will continue to spread, chasing away our fish, draining the life from island after island until every one of us is devoured by the bloodthirsty jaws of inescapable death. But one day, the heart will be found by someone who would journey beyond the reef, find Maui, deliver him across the great ocean to restore Tafiti's heart and save us all. One of the first scenes in the movie is Moana's grandmother, Grandma Tala, telling the legend I just read to a group of small children. All of the little ones listening are scared, all but Moana, who sits there enthralled. While other kids wail and fall over, Moana claps eagerly. And as Grandma Tala reaches the end of her tale, suddenly Moana's father, Chief Tui, rushes in and says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Thank you, Mother. That's enough. No one goes outside the reef. We are safe here. There is no darkness. There are no monsters." In a funny moment, he hits one of the window coverings and they all begin falling, covering the room in darkness. The children are all screaming, "The darkness!" and running around, and the chief says, "No, there is nothing beyond our reef but storms and rough seas." He continues, "As long as we stay on our very safe island, we'll be fine." Moana's grandmother pipes up with, "The legends are true. Someone will have to go." Chief Tui, her own son, contradicted her and replied with, "Mother, Montunui is paradise. Who would want to go anywhere else?" So that's where I want to begin, with the village of Montunui. As Tui says, it's a paradise. Look, if I lived in a Hawaii type paradise, I think I would find it hard to leave as well. And yet, isn't that what we do? We settle into our villages, into our own little churches, if you will. We find safety and contentment. I hear a lot of talk in churches about getting plugged in. I'm not saying this isn't necessary. I absolutely believe it is an act of worship to get plugged into a church where you attend and serve the community of believers and outside. Yet, what I want to propose is that there is a danger in becoming content in only this. We can become so busy trying to serve in the church that we forget that we are the church. We tend to look inward a lot of the time in general, and this very human trait has found its way into our churches. We can't just live in our own bubble in the safety of our church home that has the right color carpet, the comfortable chairs, and the kind of programs we want for ourselves and our kids. I'm preaching to the choir here. I had this attitude for years, especially when the kids were little and needed programs to help their little hearts learn the truth about Jesus. We settle into our churches, and sometimes we forget that there is an ocean of other villages full of weary villagers out there. As the song progresses, you will see Moana through the years as she grows. She's being told she has to stay inside the village and never go beyond the reef. Everything she needs is there and she is well provided for. Why would she ever want to leave? Over and over, Moana finds herself drawn to the water. While she knows being a chief is important and that her village needs her, she is constantly rushing back to the water. And over, she is pulled back to the village and reminded that she can find happiness right where she is. Isn't that the same lie the world tells us and the same lie that we see creeping into the heart of our own churches? You have to just be happy where you are. Even inside the church, the intentions are well meaning. Put down roots, serve here, find where you belong. In and of themselves, these are not bad ideas. I think there is value in finding a community of believers to do life with. But I think there is immense danger in bringing the world's ideas into our churches. Jesus didn't eat with prostitutes and tax collectors because they just happened to come to his house. He sought them out. This is an important distinction. If we are to be the very example of Jesus, then shouldn't we also seek out those who are lost and broken? Why stay in our own little church when there are other islands and villages out there desperately needing our time and attention and the very light of Jesus that we carry within us? I'm not saying every church gets it wrong. I'm not saying most churches get it right. All I am saying is that we have to start to see it differently. We have to get out of the us versus them mentality. It isn't the church against the world. It's about coming alongside someone who is hurting and sitting with them in all the ugly, in all the pain, in all the confusion. It's loving them. It's knowing that maybe the only thing you can do is pray. And in doing that, realizing that anything God can do for them is far more worthwhile than anything I can physically do. At some point, we stopped voyaging across the great ocean. We started anchoring our villages to the land, looking inward for all we needed, and then we just stopped exploring. We stopped trying to find new lands because we were content with the family we had built, safe in our own little village that is protected from the outside world. But here's the truth: we are in this outside world, we are a part of it. We can't escape that we live in it, and staying within our own little villages will not change the fact that there is a world around us that is in desperate need of the kind of love and grace that only Jesus can provide. I know I've said it before that I can say in 10,000 words what could be said in 1,000. So thank you for sitting with me through this first part of the voyage. There is so much more to dig into, but for now, I just want to leave you with that image of the reef. It's a challenge for me as much as anyone to ask if we are anchored in our safety or if we are willing to voyage out to where the people are. I'll be back soon and we'll look at the rest of these characters as we go along and what they have to teach us. Until then, I hope you find some peace in the horizon today. Thanks for listening.